In this Battletech Tactica vlog, we're going to be exploring the Highlander, asking the question, how does this mech play, and what kind of lance or what kind of build would it work with? Now, we're jumping in at the assault mech level. We're paying a premium battle value. And I'm not saying don't go in and pay battle value, but what you see in a Battletech game is you have to be out there earning with the battle value. You need to be aggressive with an assault mech. You need to have it doing something every single turn because that is a significant piece of your battle value or C-bills or tonnage, whatever you're going to use to calculate, that if it's hanging back, if it's waiting, if it's not being utilized, you could have taken other units for lesser value and gotten them up into the mix. So in that way, assault mechs are kind of a double-edged sword. The tech manuals, the data sheet look awesome, but if you're not utilizing them, then that means your opponent who might have more mechs, more vehicles, can be more aggressive, focus on other parts of your lance or your build, and then at the end of the game, you're like, this mech wasn't good at all. And the Highlander deserves that respect. Kind of the pinnacle of the Star League, such a well-known assault mech. Let's jump in with the Tactica with the weapons first. So what we see here is essentially 2 to 3 range brackets that within these range brackets, it's going to be doing something every single turn. And it has a mix in each range bracket that, in my opinion, pushes it a little bit further compared to some other assault mechs within that framework. You're on the way in, or you're keeping distance, you're moving forward. You've got that long-range missile 20-pack, and you've got the Gauss rifle. Those two things, you've got long-range punch that is just going to blast off armor, and then you're going to utilize that LRM-20 to crit seek. You're going to use it to try and find a place in that armor and blast away. So if you're hanging back a little bit defensively, right, going back to our earning formula, our battle value earning formula, if you're hanging back a little bit defensively, defending or making your way up cautiously, you've got some firepower that you're going to lay down. If you're going up against a heavy or an assault mech, then you can start stripping some armor. You can start hitting it with some missiles. If there's a target of opportunity, some light vehicles or some pesky light mechs, you're going to be blasting them with that LRM-20. That spread is going to be able to do some damage. So we've got that long-range punch. Now as we get a little bit closer, of course, we're going to be firing the long-range weapons, but then we switch to those medium lasers. And you've got some consistent output. So we're not seeing the level of damage that we are, say, at the long range now to the medium, but your long-range weapons are still going to be firing. So the pressure is now increasing. And I think this is a really good thing because at long range, right, we've talked about Battletech. We've talked about Battletech is a mix of modifiers. I'm trying to bring my modifiers down when I fire at you, and you're trying to jack them up. So when I'm shooting at long range, I'm possibly running because I'm trying to get somewhere, so that's stacking up. The target, my opponent, they're moving fast, so that's stacking up. There might be some terrain modifiers because I don't know the hex map field we're playing on, but the chances of me hitting are going to be somewhat low. I'm going to take those shots. I am, right? But now as we go to medium range, those modifiers come down. That brings new life to the long-range missiles and the cannon. Combined with the medium lasers, that's some powerful firepower. That is some significant firepower where even if I'm playing an assault mech, I'm going to look possibly outside of an awesome, I'm going to look and say to myself, do I really want to be trading blows back and forth with this Highlander? Generally in Battletech, I don't want to trade blows back and forth. I want to kind of mug you unexpectedly and blast you to pieces. But with an assault mech, you've got the armor outside of a lucky crit shot or a headshot where, okay, right, I'll anchor point. I'll hold this point on the hex map. I'm bringing up some hovers. I'm bringing up some other units. I'm waiting for my hot drop on my Karnovs, dropping off 5, 6, 8, 10 infantry stands, and I'm going to swarm you. So I'll hang out here and exchange a little bit. you could do that with an assault mech. I can do that with a battle master. The Highlander is going to make me awfully nervous, personally, feeling that firepower. So now we close to medium short range. And this is where the SRM-6 comes online. Yes, it's dealing damage, but we're back to damage dealing, but also crit seeking. So you have crit seeking at the spread on the missiles, possibly spreading out and hitting us in an internal location to fish around to cause damage. That's what I mean when I say crit seeking. We've got crit seeking at long range. We've got crit seeking at medium range. We've got crit seeking at short range. That's the 20-pack and the 6-pack. For the tonnage, short-range missiles and long-range missiles outside of clan tech, that's the best that you can have. And then we've got the consistency of the lasers and the cannon. That's a potent mech. Decent speed, good armor, a potent, very, very potent assault mech. So how do I see the Highlander playing out as part of a lance? And then I'm going to jump down from Mech Command and turn it over to you, my fellow mech warriors. What kind of lance would you play or would you build? Naturally, an assault mech, I'm going to see this as part of an aggressive lance going in. I see this working at multiple ranges, so I don't want to take... I wouldn't attach a longbow. Obviously, you play with the mechs that you have. It might be a specific mission, or you need to build stuff out, or just availability in a campaign. But if it's like, hey, here's the battle value, Fritz, go pick whatever you need to pick, I don't think I would look and say, let's attach an archer or a longbow. Because while that might give some amazing firepower from a distance, I want to close with the Highlander. I want to move up. Those other type of mechs want to hang back. So I'm going to focus on other assaults and other heavies that are in a somewhat similar mix of weapons, or based on the Gauss and the lasers and the short-range missiles, maybe a medium to closer type mech. So I don't think I would necessarily take a Banshee, because while the Banshee does have the autocannon and the PPC, the Banshee wants to get close and utilize the tonnage. Banshee Tactica, and I've pushed that up to the playlist here, the Battletech playlist. Banshee Tactica, stock Banshee is kind of run up there, and on the way in, the autocannon and the PPC, then when I get close, I just start like punching and kicking you. I want something a little bit more kind of mid-range. I would see something like possibly a Marauder working with this, where I've got the long range of the PPCs and the autocannon. Then as I close, I've got those medium lasers, but then I can kind of hang back a little bit and let the Highlander do its thing. I could see attaching it with a Battle Master. I could see attaching it with a Stalker. I want to have something that has a little bit at each range, because what I'm looking to do with this Highlander is ideally, and I say ideally because it's always the tactic is the ideal, I don't want to be on the defensive. I don't want to look with this Highlander and the lance or the battle group that is attached to. I don't want to say, oh man, I got to cover my flank because a bunch of hovers are quickly breaking through and I got to deal with that. I don't want to send the Highlander to deal with that. It could. It has all those range brackets, but that means I'm passive. I'm reacting to what you're doing. Like, no, I want to look at the fact that the Highlander has the long, the medium, the short, the overlap, the crit seek at the long, the crit seek at the short, and look and say, where can I apply this on the hex map to cause you to react, to give you problems, to give you like, hey, I got to deal with this now. That's what I want to focus on. And if I can capture that, what other heavies and assaults? I could attach some mediums, but I don't think I would attach lights to that, even lights that might exploit, like a Jenner, because just getting up there close, the Jenner's going to get cooked. A light mech is going to get cooked, blasted off, then I'm down an initiative sink. I don't want to do that. But what other mechs do you think, as mech warriors or mech commanders, could you attach to this mech so you could aggressively look to exploit opportunities and switch from that passive reacting to actively forcing your opponent to react?